Now in 4 News Now at 6, a push to keep childcare afloat. How much federal funding lawmakers say it will take to prevent you from being priced.
The rain is tapering off, but we have more soggy, wet weather on the way in the first alert forecast. Plus, I'm tracking some fog in your Friday outlook.
A 67-year-old woman is dead. The Spirit Lake Police Department says it happened while officers were responding to a mental health crisis. You're watching 4 News Now at 6.
Nearly 24 hours after the shooting in Spirit Lake, there are still many questions tonight. Good evening, I'm Derek Dice.
I'm Kirsten O'Connor. Very little information has been released by investigators on this. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office says 67-year-old Saw Floyd was found dead in her apartment, but they have not said how she died. Peter Choi is live in Spirit Lake again tonight. Peter, what can you tell us?
Yeah, we saw deputies in and out of the apartment complex right behind me. They actually removed all the crime scene tape, and I spoke with people who live here, and they heard gunshot last night, and it was a very scary situation without any information about what happened.
The police say you stay inside. Yeah, and I did.
Judith Nickleby lives in the Maple Street Court apartment. It has separate buildings for seniors. Last night around 6 o'clock, Nickleby saw officers running in front of her apartment.
I was in the living room.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then there was a big boom.
Another resident, Martha Williamson, says this area is usually safe and quiet.
I just thought we might have prowlers or something. We get kids coming through here playing and acting up at night. So that's what I thought was going on.
The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office says she was found dead at her apartment. Residents tell me they didn't know what happened last night until this morning.
I don't know what was going on, and that nobody seems to want to share, so I don't know.
Now, the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office did not release the information about whether Floyd was armed at the time, and they're still investigating this incident. Of course, we'll keep you updated as more information becomes available. Live in Spirit Lake, Peter Choi, 4 News Now.
All right, Peter, thank you. A 32-year-old in Lewiston is recovering after being injured during a shootout with law enforcement. Idaho State Police say this all started with a traffic stop near Powers Avenue in Lewiston. Investigators say the suspect drove away and began shooting at officers. The suspect was eventually shot and taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Well, it's official. Today was the wettest day of the year.
And we have even more soggy weather on the way. Let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker to see when we can expect a little bit of a break.
Well, we're starting to see that break, although it isn't a beautiful evening because we have so much fog and we have the low clouds thanks to an impressive rainfall total. It was not a record for today, but we had over a ½ inch of precipitation, which makes it the wettest day of 2023. We are running more than 3 inches below average for the year, but we're going to make up some of that ground as we get into the weekend. In the meantime, we are starting to see a break on our Doppler radar. You can see that we have just a few isolated areas where we're seeing some showers up around the Sandpoint area and into the central panhandle. We zoom in around Sandpoint and see that wet weather moving through the region. A lot of that rain that you're seeing is very light and is mainly around Pond Ray, north of the airport, and then into the mountains. You see that pink, and we may be seeing a little bit of mountain snow there. Here's a look at the Sandpoint Byway right now. We just have wet roads there, but we go up a little bit. Schweitzer Mountain, this is at the top of the Basin Express, so not even up at the peak, and you could see that's at least a rain-snow mix, if not just flat-out snow. So we are seeing a little bit of snow in the mountains, but the trend is toward drier weather tonight. Overcast conditions here in Spokane with areas of dense fog possible through tomorrow morning. I'll let you know when our break in the dry weather is going to come to a crashing end in a wet weekend forecast. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Kirsten?
Thank you, Chris. Well, prosecutors in the Bryan Kohberger murder case must present all of their investigative genetic genealogy, or IGG, information to the judge by December 1st.
The judge will then decide what should be shared with defense and what can be shared publicly. Defense lawyers want to know how investigators used DNA found on a knife sheath found at the crime scene. They want the state to provide a list of all profiles and family tree information used to track Kohberger down.
During a hearing today, the prosecution pushed back, saying some of the requested information was simply not available. The judge decided that he should wait for all the information pertaining to the IGG and DNA, not just snippets, before deciding what should be given to the defense. And to honor the victims, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, and Kaylee Gonsalves, a student-led vigil will be held on November 13th on the administration lawn at U of I. Exactly 1 year since they were murdered in their off-campus home. One of the students in charge of planning the event says, "We want to ensure we continue to tell their stories, to honor their legacies, and to provide a place where each student can heal. Together, we are moving forward."
But what we are talking about today is really urgent funding to keep the child care industry from crumbling.
Senator Patty Murray not mincing words today, addressing the child care crisis looming here in the U.S. President Biden is pushing for a $16 billion lifeline to fund the child care industry through next year as pandemic-era assistance is drying up this year.
Without this funding, lawmakers fear that many facilities will be forced to shut their doors, lay off their staff, or hike up prices even more. Jordan Smith has been following the story today. He is live in studio with the urgency behind this and the major roadblocks ahead.
Yeah, guys, childcare is already out of reach for so many families here in Washington. The average cost of childcare is about $12,000 a year per child. I met with a local daycare center to find out how vital this funding is and what it would go towards.
My favorite part about this job is watching kids when they catch on to what you're trying to teach them.
Shug Valala has worked here at Southeast Daycare Center for 37 years. Some of her former students now work for her here at the daycare.
I have actually people working for me that used to go to daycare here, and I have people bringing their children here that went to daycare here.
She's been around the block and has seen firsthand the need for childcare, but she knows the financial obstacles all too well.
One of the main problems I see here is the people who need child care. They may be a couple dollars over that limit, and therefore they're rejected.
Most families don't qualify for child care assistance programs and are on the hook for thousands of dollars of care, forcing them to ask some tough questions.
It gets down to, do I pay for child care? Do I work? Or do I try to get state assistance to stay at home with my kids? It's difficult if the funding isn't there to support the need that they have for child care.
Daycares are also facing an uphill battle, trying to find qualified staff and be able to pay them enough to stick around. It's a difficult balancing act that many industries are battling. Under Biden's proposal, Washington would receive about $245 million in child care funding. Valala says she'd use that money to increase the pay of her employees. She says she would also lower the cost of her child care services for the people who don't qualify for assistance. And Valala says that her daycare is authorized to look after 95 kids, but they can only take care of about 80 because of a staffing shortage. The major question is, can they get this funding through a divisive House that is also juggling a separate $100 billion request to fund Israel and Ukraine? And according to lawmakers, the future of childcare depends on it. In studio, Jordan Smith, 4 News Now.
Boy, so many people could use a little extra help there. Still ahead, a tragic hockey accident leads to worldwide safety changes. How one Spokane supplier plans to keep up with rising neck guard demand coming up.
And Spokane Public Schools now asking voters to approve a $200 million bond and levy. How that money will be used next on 4 News Now at 6.
Download the KXLY Plus app on your connected TV. Save your greed!
Property crime increasing. Shootings in our parks. Homelessness crisis getting worse. Spokane, it doesn't have to be this way. Safer neighborhoods, a vibrant downtown, and people in need getting real help. That's my vision for our future. I'm Kim Please, candidate for Spokane City Council President. I'm a new voice for Spokane, and I'm asking for your vote.
We've collected thousands of warm winter coats for this year's Coats for Kids campaign. The coats have now been cleaned thanks to Alsco. If you know a child in need of a warm winter coat, go to KXLY.com/coatsforkids to find a distribution location near you.
Thank you to the hundreds of people who donated to Coats for Kids at an STCU branch during October. Your generosity warmed our hearts. It will help keep kids out of the cold. Thank you.
Tuesdays at Northern Quest are now officially Tuesdays with a capital 2. Together with Coors Light, we're doubling up the fun for Camus Rewards members every Tuesday with 2 times the points, $2 Coors Lights, double promotion entries, $2 food specials, and too many more resort-wide deals to list here. So grab your Camus Rewards card and make the most of your Tuesday with Tuesdays, only at Northern Quest. Details at northernquest.com.
When I speak to families across Spokane, it's clear we want the same things. Our family to be safe, affordable housing, economic opportunities, and good jobs for our children and grandchildren. We want our streets fixed, our river protected, and a compassionate, effective response to homelessness. Families from Indian Trail to Lincoln Heights are ready for us to pull together and build a better Spokane. It feels pretty divided in Spokane right now, but bridges bring us together, and when I'm mayor, we'll build some new ones. I'm Lisa Brown. I approve this message.
Spokane Public Schools is asking for a $200 million bond and levy that will fund improvements at schools like Balboa and Adams Elementaries and North Central High School. The bond and levy will go before voters early next year.
If passed, the community will have a slight tax increase, and several schools will either be upgraded or replaced. Marissa Rio is live at Madison Elementary right now in North Spokane. And Marissa, Madison opened all the way back in 1949?
Yes, that's right. It opened over 70 years ago and is one of the oldest schools in the district. Now, if the bond passes, this is a school that will be replaced. The bond will also pay for other schools to be renovated. Adams Elementary is another school that will be entirely replaced. It's next to a busy street and was built back in 1910. Board members have said that it will be rebuilt to be made safer. North Central High will also receive an upgrade. SPS says the oldest parts of the building will be modernized. But how much will this cost taxpayers? If the new bond and levy passes, it will cost people an estimated average of $3.86 per $1,000 of assessed property value. That means if you live in a home estimated at $450,000, you'll pay around $1,737 in bond and levy taxes. The district says improvements are needed.
Each bond cycle allows us to maintain the safety, the ventilation, the heating and cooling, being able to accommodate for the growth and being able to make sure that we have appropriate class sizes.
The levy funds programs like performing arts, mental health services, and even nurses.
And the state only funds about 10 nurses, and we have 50. We have 57 schools. 10 nurses for 30,000 kids, it doesn't meet the need.
That's where levy money comes in and pays for the additional medical staff. The community will have the opportunity to vote on this in the February elections. Reporting in Spokane, Marissa Rio, 4 News Now.
Thank you, Marissa. Well, with Election Day just a few days away now, we want to make sure that you are informed and prepared.
Yep, that's why we created a voter guide with everything you need to know about the biggest races in our area. You can find it right now on KXLY.com/forthepeople.
Despite our big change in the weather pattern, we still haven't seen our winds pick up much, and that has led to air quality concerns in North Idaho, particularly around the St. Mary's area. Those should continue to improve through the weekend. Tomorrow could be in the moderate air quality range for Spokane, a high temperature of 51 degrees and the possibility of a brief glimpse of sunshine in the afternoon. It won't last long. I'll tell you about the next round of rain on the way after the break.
Download the KXLY Plus app for breaking news.
4 News Now is brought to you by Post Falls Volkswagen.
The tradition continues. BECU presents Beanie Night when WSU takes on Stanford November 4th. Attend the game and check out BECU's new beanie creation, free for all Coug fans. WSU battles Stanford and BECU Beanie Night November 4th in Pullman.
As a mom, I just don't feel safe taking my kids downtown anymore. And Paul Dillon, he wants to allow homeless encampments near our schools. And he supported policies that prevent police from pursuing domestic violence offenders. Paul is just too extreme for Spokane.
I'm Katie Treelor. I'm a mom, a teacher, and the only independent candidate running for Spokane City Council. I am running to make Spokane safe and clean for everyone, and I'm asking for your vote.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
The most important issue in this mayor's race, crime and public safety. I'm Nadine Woodward. We cannot let Spokane become Seattle. It's why I increased police patrols, opened new precincts, and got dangerous offenders off the streets with our Violent Crimes Task Force. My opponent? She's helped fund criminals and is supported by anti-police activists. I'm proud to be endorsed by law enforcement. I'm Nadine Woodward, and I approve this message. Let's make crime illegal again.
The tradition continues. BECU presents Beanie Night when WSU takes on Stanford November 4th. Attend the game and check out BECU's new beanie creation, free for all Coug fans. WSU battles Stanford and BECU Beanie Night November 4th in Pullman.
All right, here's a live look of one Spokane Stadium where Ferris High School football team is hosting Southridge in a GSL Mid-Columbia Conference crossover game right now. I've been texting dads in the stands, and they're not texting me back. I want to know what's happening in the game right now.
Hey, this is your warning.
Maybe they've got their hands in their pockets and their hoods pulled up, and they're too cold to text back.
Trying to save their cell phones from water damage.
Jeez, yeah, very unpleasant night over in the stands. Now, the precipitation actually stopped hours ago in Spokane, but now we have that low cloud and fog deck that just makes things feel damp and unpleasant, and it seems almost like it's raining because everything is still wet. On our satellite and radar, you can see the last of the showers moving east. We do still have some rain up in North Idaho and extreme northeastern Washington. I just saw a lightning bolt over the Cascades as well. That is not headed our way. What is developing is the fog. Visibility is already down less than 1/4 mile at Fairchild Air Force Base, at Spokane International Airport. We are getting into the fog season here in the inland Northwest, and with an El Nino year, I think we're going to see a lot of it. Here's a look at our forecast fog, and in the usual places, the Columbia Basin, out Highway 2, certainly Spokane, and up through Bonners Ferry, we will see that fog with us through tomorrow morning's commute. Temperatures staying above freezing, so shouldn't worry about fog freezing to the roadways, but visibility certainly could be an issue. We have the potential to see some clearing in the afternoon as we look at our forecast radar and satellite. By 1 o'clock, it wants to clear things out across the region. Now, this does have a tendency to be a little optimistic about the clearing of fog. It is stubborn in the inland Northwest, but it is early enough in the fog season that I think there's that possibility. If it does clear, it will not last for long, because then the clouds begin moving in advance of the system that is going to be bringing us all of that rain starting on Saturday, actually starting on Friday night, but then really picking up Saturday early morning. Here's 2 a.m. Saturday. That's going to continue through Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. You see these darker yellows and reds down on the Palouse. That's when we're going to be seeing the heaviest rain right about the time you might be heading out for a Saturday morning jog. That's when it's really going to be pouring down, and we're going to keep the chance of rain, a good chance of rain, going through early next week at least. As we get closer to the weekend, tomorrow we will have a much better idea of the timing on when we will get some breaks over this weekend, but there would be few and far between. Lows tonight above freezing throughout the entire region, even in the 40s in some locations. Highs tomorrow, if we get a little bit of sunshine, we'll make it to above average temperatures in the lower 50s, upper 40s for Bonners Ferry, Sandpoint, and Colville, in the 60s in Lewiston. A lot of rain in the 7-day forecast. Set your clocks back. Saturday night, Sunday morning, daylight saving time ends, and we'll start to see a drying trend toward the middle of next week. But I think it's going to be a wet November in the inland Northwest. El Nino's in control, and that's what El Nino likes to do. Kirsten.
All right, thank you, Chris. And Chris has been very busy this week because the first batch of Coats for Kids arrived at the Mission Community Outreach Center in Spokane. And across the inland Northwest, a lot of locations are getting prepared or even starting to distribute the coats that you so generously donated this year, all of our viewers. So they've been cleaned at Alsco.
You know who else is busy? That guy Jim that's carrying all those bags. Coats for Kids has brought warmth and smiles to children in our area for the last 38 years. You can find a full list of when and where you can pick up a coat on our website. Just go to KXLY.com/Coats for Kids.
Local hockey leagues are answering a national call to ensure players' safety by requiring neck guards.
Yeah, this change comes after a former NHL player died when an ice skate slashed his neck. Allison Martinez has the story.
Neck guards have become a hot topic of conversation in recent days. Today I learned the local organizations now requiring them and how suppliers plan to keep up with the demand. Since former NHL player Adam Johnson's passing, discussions about safety on the ice have followed.
But it definitely made me value not even just my life more, but just being on the ice more, because it could be 1 second and you could be done, and it sucks.
In the 5 days following the accident, big changes have already been made both locally and nationally.
So first thing this morning, I already had about 5 or 6 phone calls for everything about needing neck guards and stuff. So
yesterday, the Spokane Chiefs announced that their league will now be requiring neck guards effective as soon as possible. The Spokane Braves and youth leagues like the Junior Chiefs have made the switch as well. Cody Smith co-owns Hockey Armor, the only hockey shop in Spokane and Kootenai County.
We have a pretty good supply of them. Already today, though, a lot of people have been picking them up, so I'm getting a little low already, but we've tried to order some more already.
Spokane Chiefs coach Ryan Smith says their league's decision to require neck guards shows initiative within the hockey community.
What happened could happen at any time in practice, in a game, skating with your friends outside. I mean, it's really tragic, and we hope to eliminate the next tragedy.
I would wear a neck guard. I think I'm personally going to wear a neck guard myself, even though adult rec league doesn't require it. Just for what could happen, it's not worth it.
Reporting in Spokane, Allison Martinez, 4 News Now.
Hey, speaking of skating, the ice rink in Riverfront Park opens for the season November 18th. Now is the perfect time to pick up an unlimited ice pass. And if you buy early, you'll get 15% off at the Sky Ribbon Cafe, 4 tickets to the Loof Carousel, and 1 single-use ticket and skate rental for a friend. We've put a link to buy passes on this story on KXLY.com.
All right, rolling your clocks back not only gives more daylight in the morning, but it's also good for your health. We'll explain why coming up.
And hundreds of military promotions blocked by one man in the Senate. His protest against the Pentagon coming up next.
Download the KXLY Plus app for live updates all day.
It's time to remodel your bathroom, but you don't want the hassle. You just want it done. Rebath, from start to stunning. Call us or visit rebath.com and save $1,000 off your complete bathroom remodel.
Spokane's homeless plan is not working. In the last 6 years, Spokane's homeless rate has nearly doubled, while the U.S. rate barely increased. And while many unhoused persons genuinely need a helping hand, others have accelerated Spokane's problems of crime and open drug use. Similar-sized U.S. cities don't have these problems, but Spokane became home to the largest homeless camp in the state of Washington. Why Spokane? Hear the answer at curingspokane.com.
I'm Jonah, and I'd like to welcome you to the brand new Coeur d'Alene Nissan. You'll find the grand dealership lobby open, comfortable, and relaxing. A service center with state-of-the-art equipment committed to getting you quickly and safely back on the road. There's much more to experience. I'm inviting you to stop in and see us. We're just off Highway 95 in Coeur d'Alene.
Thank you for getting groceries, Mika.
Of course. Happy to help. Will Medicare cover any of these bills?
I thought it would, but it doesn't.
We'll get through this. I will always be here for you.
I know. But what about you? I don't ever want you to be in this situation.
Don't worry, Dad. With WA Cares, I'm earning long-term care benefits with each paycheck. That money will be there when I need it.
Find out how the WA Cares Fund can help.
Friends and neighbors call me the squeaky wheel because when something needs attention, I make noise on my neighborhood council, as a public school parent, or in City Hall. So when our community isn't getting the attention it deserves, I run for City Council because Northeast Spokane needs a squeaky wheel for our community, for small businesses, for families like mine. I'm Lindsay Shaw, running for City Council District 1 to be your squeaky wheel.
It's time for a new shower, but you don't want the hassle. You just want it done. Rebath, from start to stunning. Call us or visit rebath.com and save $750 off your tub or shower replacement.
Download the KXLY Plus app for weather every 10 minutes.
Around the nation now, for months, hundreds of military promotions and nominations have been blocked by one senator from Alabama.
Several senators angrily challenging his decision, saying it has national security implications. ABC's M. Nguyen explains.
After several months of gridlock where very few military promotions or nominations have been allowed to proceed because of the actions of one U.S. senator, anger from his fellow Republican senators spilling onto the Senate floor. Frustrated Republicans challenging Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville's blockade of more than 370 military nominations and promotions.
But why are we putting holes on war heroes?
No matter where you believe it or not, Senator Tuberville, this is doing great damage to our military.
One by one, GOP senators, led by Alaska's Dan Sullivan, a colonel in the Marine Corps Reserve, read a list of 61 nominations out loud. And despite these promotions typically being one of the most bipartisan actions in the Senate, one by one, Tuberville rejected them. Tuberville's decision to block the advancement of military careers is in protest of the Pentagon's controversial policy, which covers the costs for troops who are stationed in states that restrict access to abortions, allowing them to travel to states where they can legally obtain the procedure.
I cannot simply sit idly by while the Biden administration injects politics in our military, injects politics in our military from the White House and spends taxpayers' dollars on abortion.
But in the wake of the escalating conflict in the Middle East and after the Marine Corps commandant was hospitalized after a medical emergency, frustrations boiled over.
Xi Jinping is watching this right now. He's loving this. So is Putin.
GOP senators argued Tuberville's hold harms military readiness and punishes officers whose promotions have already been approved and have no role in the Pentagon's policy.
They're wrong. We've been doing this 9 months. All of a sudden, it's an emergency. We tend to drag our feet around here a little bit, so I don't agree with it.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is pressing forward with a new resolution that, if passed, could circumvent Tuberville's hold, temporarily allowing all nominations to be voted on all at once. Em Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Well, new at 6, a jury has found the founder of crypto trading platform FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, guilty of all charges. He was charged with 7 counts of fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. He was accused of using FTX to cover his losses at his hedge fund, pay off loans, and other personal expenses. Federal prosecutors have described this as one of the biggest financial fraud cases in American history. All right, we have much more coming up tonight at 6:30.
Including the financial toll it could take being an unpaid caregiver and what to do to ease the burden. Plus, the end of daylight saving time could mean more than just an extra hour of sleep. Coming up, the added health benefits of this change.
Download the KXLY Plus app for weather every 10 minutes.
Crime is skyrocketing, and the homelessness crisis is just getting worse. When will it be enough? I'm Kim Please, running to make our neighborhoods safer and to help those in need. Vote Kim Please for City Council President.
Well, there is nothing bigger, nothing better than Monday Night Football on ABC and ESPN. And the next morning, watch GMA for the Tuesday morning NFL ticket giveaway. For tickets to a Monday Night Football game.
5 stars. All rise for To Kill a Mockingbird. Unmissable and unforgettable. A mockingbird for our moment. Beautiful, elegiac, satisfying, even exhilarating. A New York Times critic's pick. Mockingbird is now the most successful American play in Broadway history. All rise for Aaron Sorkin's great play. Richard Thomas is Atticus Finch in Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird.
December 5th through 10th at First Interstate Center for the Arts. Tickets at BroadwaySpokane.com.
At first, I used Better Than Bouillon for broth, and then stir fries, sauces, even marinades. And now there's the Culinary Collection. Italian herb for pasta, smoky chipotle for fajitas. It's like the deliciousness never ends. Make everything better with Better Than Bouillon.
I'm Kim Please, running for Spokane City Council President. For safer neighborhoods, a vibrant downtown, and people in need getting real help. That's my vision for our future. Vote Kim Please for Council President.
Did you know that these products may not work after sitting in your home for years?
I didn't know that.
Next, Inside Edition. Did you know fire extinguishers can expire?
People just think they last forever.
Bike helmets? Smoke detectors? Mascara? A shower loofah? Then, Zombie House Murder Trial. Did his dream of appearing on this reality TV show lead to her slaying? Next, Inside Edition.
Watch 4 News now at 6 and Inside Edition at 7. Live from downtown Spokane, this is 4 News Now at 6:30.
Well, this weekend, Washington, Idaho, and most of the country will get to sleep an extra hour on Sunday as we turn back the clocks to standard time. Sleep experts are actually saying at the University of Washington that this should be the last time we do this.
And one local sleep expert agrees. Bronte Saratsky explains how these yearly time changes affect your health.
Well, we all have to switch our clocks to standard time on Sunday, meaning we'll gain sleep but lose daylight. One local health expert says making a permanent switch to standard time would actually benefit overall health, especially with our brutal winters.
And so when we alter that arbitrarily by an hour, it just kind of throws us off.
This Sunday, we'll all get an extra hour to sleep in as we fall back from daylight saving time to standard time. Sleep experts at the University of Washington say standard time is actually better for our health because it matches our body's internal clock. One local sleep expert agrees.
It really is best for our body to get that extra hour of sleep. When we get more sleep, at least more than 7 hours, it is better for mental health. It helps us recover from sore muscles, from exercising better.
She says our bodies have several clocks, a body clock, a sun clock, and a social clock, and that all these clocks align when we're on standard time.
There is a time that our bodies want to sleep, and when we sleep, we have hormone changes that happen in our bodies. They help us grow, they help us feel well rested in the morning and recovered and fresh in the morning.
While some are excited for that extra hour of sleep, they're not looking forward to the darkness that comes with it.
Spokane, the days are just so short in the winter that it makes it pretty tough. I'd almost rather, I'd rather have it be dark, in the late afternoon compared to the mornings.
One man says he doesn't care for daylight saving time over standard and says we should just stick to one and stop the switch altogether.
Yeah, it definitely throws you off for a day or two.
Now, Dr. DeHole says although it can be harder to get out of bed and be productive when we all have less light out, sticking to your routine as we shift to standard time is crucial for your well-being. Live in studio, Bronte Sorotsky, 4 News Now.
A live look over the One Spokane Stadium. Now, the roads are wet, but we haven't had any rainfall in Spokane for several hours. That is just that moisture trapped at the boundary layer with the low clouds and fog. We do have some rain falling, however, as we go to Doppler radar around the Sandpoint area. That's one of the few spots where we're seeing that rain. It has moved south from Pend Oreille right into downtown Sandpoint. We're still seeing a little bit of light rain snow mix up at Schweitzer Mountain. Zoom out a little bit. We've seen a few sprinkles south of Newport and some rain over Mount Spokane right now, but we've been dry as far as Spokane and Coeur d'Alene this afternoon. A little bit different story earlier today. Finally, a broader view on the radar shows you just how dry it is across the region, despite the fact that we are socked in with the low clouds and fog. And here's another look just a little bit further to the west over the Spokane Veterans Memorial Arena, just to show you what a damp, gray, foggy night is in progress around the region, and this is going to continue through tomorrow morning. Right now, our visibility at the airport in Spokane, out on the West Plains and Fairchild Air Force Base, all less than a quarter mile, and things are going downhill in North Idaho as well. That fog is going to be with us through the night and into tomorrow morning, with the possibility that will clear out a little bit tomorrow afternoon. We could see some sunshine. I think we're early enough in the fog season that we'll if you see it, enjoy it, because once we get into the weekend, I think that'll be the last of the sunshine we see for a while. We have another round of wet weather on the way. I'll let you know what to expect in just a few minutes. Kirsten.
Thank you, Chris. And while the city of Spokane is starting to pick up fallen leaves, it warns you cannot dump your leaves in the street.
Yeah, the city stresses that pickup is only intended for leaves that naturally fall into the streets, and you shouldn't rake or blow your leaves from your yard into the street. You can get rid of them in those green yard and food waste bins. It'll start cleaning the streets in areas that need it most first and continue through the middle of December.
A consumer alert now. If you have a Mustang, Ford is recalling close to 200,000 cars for a brake fluid level sensor that may not activate. The issue impacts 2020 through 2023 models. Ford says a needed software update from the dealership has no cost to owners, and the company plans to send letters to everyone affected.
Around the world tonight, Israel says its troops have completed the encirclement of Gaza City. Now, troops are on the ground searching for the underground tunnels used by Hamas.
This as thousands of people in Gaza struggle to find shelter and basic necessities. Some foreign nationals trapped in the area are slowly being let out, including U.S. citizens. CNN's Gloria Pazmino has more.
A hammer is their only tool. Then it's their bare hands as Gazans sift through piles of mangled metal, concrete, and dust in search of bodies. This is the second hit on the Jabalia refugee camp this week. The Israeli military says it was targeting a Hamas command and control complex and killed several Hamas members, and blames Hamas for intentionally endangering civilians by building its infrastructure in populated areas. The director of Gaza's Indonesian hospital says the strike killed scores of people and injured hundreds more. The scale of destruction is widespread, and pressure is growing on Israel to call for a ceasefire as the civilian death toll from the war escalates. In the meantime, a glimmer of hope as injured Palestinians and hundreds of foreign nationals, including U.S. citizens, have started arriving on the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing Wednesday. Back in the U.S., political pressure is mounting. President Biden was confronted by a rabbi during a private fundraiser in Minneapolis.
Mr. President, if you care about Jewish people as a rabbi, I need you to call for a ceasefire right now.
Biden responded by saying he was supportive of a humanitarian pause to allow for the release of the more than 200 hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Muslim leaders representing a key voting bloc in Minneapolis say the president failed to meet their deadline to call a ceasefire this week.
No ceasefire, no vote in 2024.
Reporting in New York, Gloria Pasmino.
And our sports team takes a look at what's wrong with Washington State football and how the Cougs can bounce back in this week's Chalk Talk.
Download the KXLY Plus app for breaking news.
Little bit of sunshine.
Good morning, America.
The all-new Bet Ahead feature is now live at Caesars Sportsbook, located inside Spokane Tribe Casino. Make your picks online from anywhere before you place your cash bets. Only at Spokane Tribe Casino. You just win here.
When there's an emergency, citizens of Spokane wonder, will help get here in time? Drastic shortages in police officers and firefighters have set overtime costs skyrocketing and put our community at risk.
I'm Kitty Klitsky. I strongly support public safety. Let's hire more police officers and firefighters to cut these overtime costs and improve response times.
Vote Kitty Klitsky for City Council, endorsed by Firefighters Local 29.
I'm Mark Peterson, the Extreme Team at Horizon Credit Union, ready to take on the next task. If you know of a project that needs an Extreme Team makeover, go to KXLY.com to nominate it. 4 News Now Extreme Team brought to you by Horizon Credit Union.
Kylie and I know there's a lot of great choices for new and pre-owned cars in North Idaho.
And we want Parker Subaru to be your first choice.
Because Parker Subaru has won the coveted Subaru Love Promise Customer Commitment Award every year since we began in 2012.
Not only do we have a great selection of Subarus, we have an award-winning service center.
Because we are committed to keeping you satisfied long after the purchase.
Visit us online at parkersubaru.com or stop by and visit us at Parker Subaru in beautiful Coeur d'Alene.
Spokane's homeless plan is not working. In the last 6 years, Spokane's homeless rate has nearly doubled, while the U.S. rate barely increased. And while many unhoused persons genuinely need a helping hand, others have accelerated Spokane's problems of crime and open drug use. Similar-sized U.S. cities don't have these problems, but Spokane became home to the largest homeless camp in the state of Washington. Why Spokane? Hear the answer at curingspokane.com.
The all-new Bet Ahead feature is now live at Caesars Sportsbook, located inside Spokane Tribe Casino. Make your picks online from anywhere before you place your cash bets. Only at Spokane Tribe Casino. You just win here.
Does anyone else hum Guns N' Roses all day when it rains in November? I do. It's a cold November rain, and it was over a ½ inch in Spokane. That makes it the wettest day in Spokane in 2023, and that includes the snow that we've had in 2023 melted down. It was a very wet day, not quite a record. Our record was in the over 0.6 of an inch, set back in the early 1900s. Year to date, we are running more than 3 inches below average, but we are going to be adding to that number through the week. This is a very typical November during a El Nino year. Wetter than average weather, warmer than average weather. Temperatures will be running just a hair above average through most of the 7-day forecast. And certainly we have the precipitation wrapped up, especially this weekend. Saturday is looking like an indoorsy day. You'll wake up with the rain in progress. possibly get some breaks later in the day, but very much like today, it is going to be gray and foggy and damp and puddly, and those wet leaves are slick. You need to watch your step, and then we have more rain coming next week. I want to show you some of the precipitation totals expected with this next round of rain as we get into Saturday and Sunday. The wettest day will be Saturday of the weekend. Sunday's going to be more hit and miss. In some spots, expecting a little more rain, in particular in North Idaho. Could see close to an inch of rain in Sandpoint, also down in Pullman, one of the big winners, but maybe not quite as much around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. More very wet weather in St. Mary's and up into the central panhandle, and we will continue to see at least some rain in Moses Lake and Ritzville. Broader view on what's going on, just a very active jet stream with a westerly flow over the region. Starting off at the current time, our first system moving off. Here comes the next one for Saturday. Here's Saturday morning. It is coming along with a warm front. We'll keep our temperatures above freezing and above average. That zips through, and then there's a weaker system on the way for Sunday. I'm feeling like most of that rain is going to come very late in the day, and so you'll get some breaks on Sunday. That will be the drier of the 2 weekend days, but then more wet weather coming in to start the work week. A rainy Monday. You do get an extra hour to enjoy Sunday in case there are those breaks, and of course tomorrow we will have a much clearer picture of when those will be and what you can expect. But temperatures in the mid-50s. Our average highs in the upper 40s. More rain as we get into next week. Overnight lows above freezing until about this time next week. Derek, Kirsten.
All right, Chris, thank you. Christmas tree permits are now available in North Idaho.
The permits will cost around $8 per tree. Before you grab your axe to find the perfect tree, there are a few things the National Forest Service wants you to know. So most National Forest roads are not maintained for winter driving. They recommend bringing extra food and water with you, and also bring a rope or something to secure the tree to your car. They also say start early since tree cutting and travel is not easy, and leave well before it gets dark. I've been talking about this story all night and wanting to know if Derek's going to take the boys to chop a tree down.
Never gone out like deep into the forest. We've done it like up at Green Bluff in the past when they were much younger. Now we have a fake tree. I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for that, but it's so easy to put together and plug in. The lights are already there. So I get it. People who like to do it though.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Millions of Americans provide unpaid caregiving to family or loved ones, and that care could lead to big out-of-pocket expenses.
In Washington alone, there are around 820,000 unpaid caregivers. That's according to AARP. ABC's Morgan Norwood takes a closer look at the financial toll and ways to ease the burden.
When you think of a caregiver, perhaps a home health care nurse or aide comes to mind, but experts say they only represent a small percentage of the profession. In fact, more and more Americans are taking on the title, in many cases without the pay.
More than 48 million family caregivers are advocating and providing hands-on care and caregiving long distance to assist older adults, their parents, their aunts and uncles, their spouses, their siblings, and they are providing a value of $600 billion in unpaid care.
And with crippling inflation, it's taking a financial toll on families nationwide. Amy Goyer with AARP says she's been a caregiver much of her adult life.
We tend to spend about 26% of our income on out-of-pocket expenses. You know, that's an average of $7,000 a year across the country. Some spend much more, some spend much less. But that's part of the reason. Medicare does not cover everything.
But in some cases, Medicaid does, but not everyone qualifies. Yulia Truskanowski is an economics professor studying the reasons behind the rising cost of care.
There has been a trend since the 1980s to move away from institutions such as nursing homes and allow older adults to age in place, age in their homes, in their communities.
But there are options that can take the edge off the financial burden, including tax breaks. You might be able to claim your loved one as a dependent, or you may be able to deduct their out-of-pocket expenses. Be sure to check out what benefits your employer offers. There's also help if your loved one is a veteran.
My dad was enrolled in VA healthcare, and he was able to receive home-based primary care. They have grants to help with home modifications. Sometimes their caregivers can get paid by the VA.
Bottom line, take time to plan.
We really encourage people to think about the fact that, you know, if your loved ones are going to need some help, you might be needing to step in.
Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
All right, here is a look at ABC's primetime lineup tonight as we head into a break.
Download the KXLY Plus app for live updates all day.
The tradition continues. BECU presents Beanie Night when WSU takes on Stanford November 4th. Attend the game and check out BECU's new beanie creation, free for all Coug fans. WSU battles Stanford and BECU Beanie Night November 4th in Pullman.
Save over 60% on this GE front-load laundry set.
Marked down to only $7.99 each, this is a terrific price on a family-sized front-load washer and dryer.
All major appliances are on sale during Fred's Black Friday sale. Save big on this GE washer with steam wash, smart dispense, and the Ultra Fresh vent system. Plus, save an additional $600 by shopping local. Let Fred's experts help you take advantage of Black Friday savings.
So you want somewhere to play? We got you. A nice relaxing stay? We got you. Wanna be entertained? We got you. Wanna play golf all day? We got you. Go to Lake Casino. The winning is just the beginning. So you're looking for something to do? We got you. Want some tasty food? We got you. Heard you wanna do some shopping? We got you. The live music is always popping at the Go to Lake Casino. At the Go to Lake Casino. Go to Lake Casino. The winning is just the beginning.
Spokane, you have a choice. We can support leaders who want to stand up and protect our community, or we can surrender to crime and homelessness like Bessie Wilkerson, who voted to defund drug investigations. That means she doesn't care about her kids dying of fentanyl overdoses. She also voted against barring homeless camps near schools, parks, and playgrounds. Spokane, let's choose to protect our kids and fight crime. That's why law enforcement and the Spokane Police Guild support Kim Please for council president.
We aren't just HVAC specialists. We're a Lennox premier dealer. That means we offer the most energy efficient products on the market with savings you can see and perfect air you can feel. Your comfort is our passion, and we're with you every breath of the way. Enjoy greater comfort and lower energy costs. Call us today and save on Lennox with special incentives and rebates.
Call Norco Heating and Air today.
The tradition continues. BECU presents Beanie Night when WSU takes on Stanford November 4th. Attend the game and check out BECU's new beanie creation, free for all Coug fans. WSU battles Stanford and BECU Beanie Night November 4th in Pullman.
Inside Edition.
These are the stories that impact your life.
Well, it's been the tale of two seasons for Washington State football. Welcome into sports. I'm Julian Minenso. The Cougars were perfect through the first 4 weeks of the season. The last 4 weeks, not so much. The big question is what Washington State team will show up on Saturday against Stanford. Alex Crescenti shows us what the Cougars are doing to make sure they're on their A game in this week's Chalk Talk.
The Washington State losing streak has been so long, we've seen it evolve in front of our eyes. At first, the issues came on the offensive side of the ball, and then a couple weeks later, it was the defense that had all kinds of issues. Now the offense looks to be back on track, and the focus is back on the defense. And a familiar face is returning to help. Head coach Jake Dicker got his start in Pullman as the defensive coordinator, and ever since then, it's been the strength of the team. But the perception has completely shifted this season. In the last 3 games, they've given up 40 points per game and haven't forced a single turnover. And last week down in Tempe, Arizona State came in as one of the worst offenses in the FBS, but somehow managed to put up 38 points and 500 yards against the Cougars. Now, while Dickert has confidence in his coordinators, he is getting much more involved in that side of the ball this week.
I always feel that need sometimes, right? But I think this week, I'm going to be heavily involved in the game planning. Normally I spread my time between both sides of the ball and equally in special teams. And, I'm going to be through every phase of it and trying to find an edge. And, that isn't a panic thing. That's just something where I feel like I can be an asset at this moment and trying to find ways to be better and more solutions and more attacking. And, I think we've just gotten stuck on a few things. So to find ways to get over that hump, I think it's necessary at this time.
Now, while the Cougars are favored against Stanford by almost 2 touchdowns, they still need 2 more wins to become bowl eligible. So consider this game a must-win scenario. Julian, I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Alex. Death, Texas, and Gonzaga women's basketball making the NCAA tournament. The Bulldogs have made the NCAA tournament 6 straight times under head coach Lisa Fortier. The journey to number 7 in a row begins tonight. The Bulldogs with an exhibition game against Warner Pacific. Gonzaga returning 11 players from last year's team, including Yvonne Ejim, who lays it home right here. Ejim was named to the preseason All-West Coast Conference team, and she shows why. Now, the Zags were scoring early and often in this one. Kaylin Trong finds Eliza Hollingsworth underneath for 2. Make it look easy. The Bulldogs had it working inside and outside as well. Still in the first quarter now. Gonzaga, they're going to be on the attack right here. It's going to be Brenna Maxwell, and that's just too smooth. The jumper, the easy 3 ball by Maxwell. Gonzaga leads 52-13. Yeah, that's a real score. We're going to have a final of this one tonight on Nightside, but I'm pretty sure I know it's going to happen. In today's college sports landscape, to get 11 players returning for a basketball team with a transfer portal, with, you know, whatever professional endeavors they want to deal with, that's pretty cool. So if Gonzaga's going to make a run, the women's team, any year, this might be it.
Yeah, that's wild to have that many back. All right, Julian, thank you.
Download the KXLY Plus app for weather every 10 minutes.
.929 CCU.
We love our house, but lately we've been feeling a little cramped.
So we talked to ICCU about a new home loan. The process was super quick, and we got a really great rate.
We start house hunting tomorrow.
Preferably something with a bigger garage.
At Parker Toyota, we believe in driving with confidence. Parker Toyota's certified pre-owned vehicles offer you affordability and dependability when buying your next Toyota.
We take the guesswork out of buying pre-owned because every Toyota certified vehicles goes through 160-point check by our trained technician.
Whether it's a stylish sedan or versatile SUV or a fuel-efficient hybrid, we have the largest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the area.
See our huge selection of vehicles and receive our no-problem customer service at Parker Toyota in beautiful Coeur d'Alene.
Why are developers and right-wing special interests spending over $250,000 to elect Kim Pleas? They know as council president, Pleas will do what they want, like sweetheart deals that leave us paying for roads, sewers, and fire protection, and work to repeal reproductive rights. We don't need Pleas' extreme agenda in City Hall. Let's elect a pragmatic, solutions-focused council president. Betsy Wilkerson will protect our rights and work for us, not the special interests.
Next ET, the rom-com queen is back.
I felt like, oh, I have some stuff to say.
We're with Meg Ryan and on-screen beau David Duchovny. Next ET.
Watch 4 News now at 6 and Entertainment Tonight at 7:30.
It's more than the rose. It's a future.
I have no way of knowing how this will turn out.
It's gut-wrenching to do what I have to do.
We have a dry day on the way for Friday, but not necessarily a bright, sunny day. We'll start the day off with some fairly dense fog, particularly right around the Spokane area. Some hope for afternoon sunshine. It won't last long because the next system will be moving in. The closer we get to the weekend, the more I think that we'll get some good long breaks on Sunday. But Saturday might just be college football grill and coffee and sit on the couch.
Or all that rain gear if you're going to that Cougs game in Pullman.
Oh, yeah. Is anyone here going to that? Do we need a poncho? Sorry. How are we going to stay dry? Have fun, guys.
All right. Thanks, Chris.